we want to discuss insolvability of the quintic. Before we do so, we need to define what does it mean to be solvable in terms of radicals. So say you're given a polynomial f which lies over this field capital F. This is solvable in radicals if we can obtain the solution of this equation f equals to 0 by operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and extraction of nth roots. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, these are taken care of the field itself. Inside the field, you can perform all these operations. It is only for the extraction of nth roots that you need field extensions. So for the extraction of roots, we need succession of radical extensions, or you can say a tower of fields. So you need a tower of fields like this. So how is this constructed? So you start with f0, which you fix as f, then you construct f1 out of it. You do construct f1 out of it by taking f0, and to f0 you adjoin an element alpha 0. So alpha 0 does not lie in f0, but some power of alpha 0 lies in f0. So you can say alpha 0 to the power of say r0 lies in f0. Then you have to construct f2. So to construct f2, you again take this, you have f0 alpha 0, and then you adjoin alpha 1 to it, such that alpha 1 to the power of something lies in f1, and so on. You come to fn, and at fn you obviously will have f0. You start with alpha 0 all the way to say alpha n minus 1, and the power here would lie in the previous field. So more formally, we write it like this. So fi plus 1 is obtained from fi. So you have inductive step by adjoining alpha I, so that alpha I to the power of ri lies within fi. So basically this means the same thing. So where does this alpha I ri come from? We need to attach it to a polynomial. After all, we are constructing a radical extension, so it has to come from a radical. So the polynomial, you can say something like this: x to the power of ri minus ai equals to 0. So the root of this is alpha I, because alpha I to the power of ri minus a is equal to 0. So alpha I to the power of ri is equal to a. So it's radical of a. Now another condition we say for solvability is, in the end the polynomial has to be splitting completely. So k contains the splitting field of our polynomial f. So if you're able to construct these extensions in terms of radicals, just keep on taking roots, and in the end you're able to completely have your polynomial, then it means that it is solvable in radicals. So this is the condition for solvable in radicals. But this is not that useful without attaching our primitive roots. This is because you should recall, we discussed this in great detail, that cyclic Galois extensions, they are of this form f alpha, where alpha to the power of n lies in the field f, and f contains primitive root of unity. So this we have discussed before when we talked about cyclic Galois extensions. And the cyclic Galois extensions arose from fields like this. Again, this should remind you of this equation right here. So here we used x to the power of n minus a equals to 0, and here we are just using multiple such equations. For every extension we are using the such equations. But now such extensions, we know if it contains a primitive root of unity, in addition to alpha, you contain alpha, and f also contains now this primitive root of unity, then you have cyclic extensions, which are very useful, and we are going to use this to prove the big theorem. So the big theorem which we want to prove in the next few lectures is this. So polynomial f over f, and characteristic of this field f is 0. This is solvable in radicals if and only if its Galois group is solvable. So this is what we want to prove. Now let us see its application for insolvability of a quintic. So we have shown that S5 is not solvable, and we have also shown in the previous lectures that the Galois group of f of x, this polynomial x5 minus 4x plus 2, the Galois group of this is S5. So in fact we showed this in the lecture, when is Galois group SP. So we showed in the lecture when is Galois group SP where P is prime. So thus this group f of x equals to 0 is not solvable by radicals because its Galois group is S5, which is not solvable. So the polynomial is solvable if and only if its Galois group is solvable. Galois group is not solvable, therefore this polynomial is not solvable by radicals. So an important lemma which we are going to use, which will seem like common sense once we state it and start doing it. So this lemma says that, say f is a separable polynomial. So separable polynomial means that in its splitting field you will have distinct roots. Then you consider its Galois group. So G subscript f, as superscript I am writing capital F because this polynomial f lies in field this capital F. And then you have another Galois group which is over field f prime. So for f of x lying in f prime, and f prime is an extension of field f. So f prime contains field f. Then this Galois group over a smaller field contains the Galois group over larger field. So this is kind of easy to see. So say you construct E by joining alpha 1, alpha 2 all the way to alpha m to your base field f. So you construct E. So what are these elements? So these elements alpha 1, alpha 2 all the way to alpha m, these are roots of our polynomial f, and these are roots of f in splitting field, say E prime, which is over f prime. So E prime over f prime, this is the splitting field, but by the uniqueness of splitting fields for a polynomial, these two are iso. So what does this Galois group do? Galois group of this extension E over f, so this group of automorphisms of E which fixes f. So this just permutes these roots. So this just permutes these roots. Now again these two are same or iso. Then what do you have here? What does this Galois group of E prime over f prime do? So this is basically again group of automorphisms of E prime which keep f prime fixed, but E prime is of this form up to isomorphism and f prime lies over f. So if you take any permutation here, this will also permute the roots, but it might permute lesser number of roots precisely because f prime might contain some of these roots, since f prime lies over f. So f prime might contain some of the roots. So therefore the sigma acts in a restricted manner here. So its full action is here. So this sigma naturally carries over to here. So here it does not have the total freedom to permute all possible roots because some roots might be contained in f prime. Here it has full possibility, and that is what we are saying. So this portion is this part, so Galois group over f prime, and this portion is this part.